Welcome into Blake Street Ball. I am Tanner Schwint, Luke Mullins, Ben Shoemate joining us as always. Thanks for taking some time. Well, opening day has come and it has gone, and mixed results for the Rockies so far. Their trip to Florida not paying off like we had all hoped, splitting that series. The offense went very, very quiet after Freeland and Marquez's big days on the mound, and it was not a great series to start off for the Rockies.
Yeah, well, the first two games were great. I mean, you got the two pitchers held the Marlins to like 2 hits in each of the games.
They did
great.
exactly
Freeland
what
and
they needed
Marquez, everything you could hope for from them. But then after that, the offense just stopped. You know, first two games we scored 12 runs. After that, we had like a total of 3 or 2.
Yeah.
And I know.
Yeah, it was 3. Yeah.
It was 3.
And Daniel Murphy's injury coincided. I know he only had 1 hit, but he's lengthened out the lineup when they had him hitting second, because then we had Dahl, McMahon, guys like that hitting lower. After he came out of the lineup, we had Dahl hitting second, and that kind of shortened the lineup a little bit, and I think that kind of affected it, but we'll see.
Well, you know, it's never easy, especially when you're starting the season out, because you're feeling out what your lineup needs to look like. And when you plan on Daniel Murphy being a big part of that and you pull him out, now Bud Black's having to do a lot of mixing and matching, rather. Ben, your thoughts on this offense that just went absolutely cold at the end of that series?
Well, it's a bit troublesome because if you take it back to the National League Wild Card game, the Rockies have a runs per average of just over 2, which is not a recipe for success.
That's a laughable matter, like Luke just did.
I think it's 2.12 is their runs per game since the Wild Card game. And those first 2 games, those shouldn't be the outliers. That should be the average for the Rockies. They should be able to go out and put up 6 runs a game. But if you look at it, the game they lost 7-3, Story went 0 for 4. Chris Iannetta went 0 for 3, and the pinch hitters went 0 for 2 in that game. And then our 3-0 loss to Miami, Arenado went 0 for 4, so did Story. And then Tapia, who was kind of thrown in there, a late start for him, went 0 for 3 in that game. So whenever you have star players who just can't even get on base at any point, it's okay if it happens every once in a while, but if you have lots of players in one game, then that's when it starts being a problem.
Well, there's no doubt, and that's what I was just going to bring up. Everybody seemed to be ice cold. The one guy that's swinging a pretty good bat right now is David Dahl.
Yeah, David Dahl's been off to a great start, and it's been a long time coming for Rockies fans and David Dahl, because we've been waiting for this. Because when he first came up, he had that like record-setting hitting streak. You couldn't get him out. Last year, he finally was healthy. At the end of the year, he was the Rockies' best player, and the reason why they were able to win those last few games they needed to make it into the playoffs. And so far, he's been great again to start this year. He's got the average. We haven't seen any home runs from him yet. We haven't seen a lot of home runs from the Rockies, period.
Yeah.
but we know he's got that power, and it will show up. So, yeah, David Dahl's been good. McMahon's been solid, too.
Absolutely. And now, talking about the offense, let's go to the backside of that. Pitching. Ben, the first 2 guys that we've been amped up to watch pitch for the Colorado Rockies just went out there, and they both did their job with Freeland and Marquez. Solid to start, but the back end of the rotation not looking so great right now.
Well, I'm not even sure if I would put this all on the back end of the rotation, because if you look at those 4 games, starting pitching had an ERA of 3.72 over those 4 games, with a walks per 9 of 2.23 and a strikeout per 9 innings of 9.3. Those numbers are good for any team, let alone the Rockies with so many young pitchers. So I'm not going to put this on them. I'm going to put this completely on the offense. Aside from Tyler Anderson's 5-inning, 5-run performance, the 4 games that the Rockies pitched, they were really good. John Gray had 10 strikeouts over 6 2/3 innings. So I think if they can keep up that consistency, as long as the bats get going, we're going to be just fine.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go next with John Gray. This is a guy that, after the last season and all the struggles that he had, we wondered if he'd even be back in the Colorado Rockies uniform, just because he looked like he needed. Well, he looked like he needed a refresh. He needed a restart, and I didn't think he could get that in Colorado. But this is a guy. His stuff looked sharp. He can, like you said, Ben, he striked a ton of guys out. What were your thoughts on John Gray? Could he start to take those steps up and be a higher rotation type guy?
Well, I love what I saw from John Gray in that game. He had like 1 or 2 pitches, an inning he would have liked to have back, but it was still only 3 runs over like 7 innings. Very strong start from him. He had those 10 strikeouts, like you said, but what really stood out to me was he had a period, I think, between like the 2nd and 3rd inning where it was like strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, guy down. It felt like he threw like 9 strikes in a row, struck out everybody. So I was very happy with what I was seeing. His control was there, the pitches, the movement, everything was great. In that fourth inning, it kind of got away from him a little bit, but it was still a very strong performance from Jon Gray. A lot to look forward to.
I think the most important thing about Jon Gray's performance is he had those 10 strikeouts. He only had 1 walk the entire game.
The whip is always the most important factor for me when I'm looking at it for the pitchers, and Jon Gray turned out one heck of a performance. Hopefully they'll get it all straightened out because the Dodgers are coming into town, and that's always a big series, especially opening day. That'll be coming up. We'll talk about that the next time we talk to you. This has been Blake Street Ball for Ben, for Luke. I'm Tanner Schwint. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey guys, Ben Shoemate from Blake Street Ball. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed yet, what is wrong with you? I've been trying to figure out, and there is something morally and ethically wrong with you. So to fix that problem, subscribe right here. There is a link. Also, if you want to catch more on our terrible thoughts about the Rockies, there's a video here and here. You can watch those and comment below on how wrong we are. Yeah, if you're a Dodgers fan, we will be praying for you. So we will see you next time here on Blake Street Ball.